There comes a time in life when you have to make a decision, not just for your peace, but for your purpose. Some people are meant to be in your life for a season, and when that season, you have to let them go. See, not everyone who starts with you is meant to finish with you. Some relationships aren't helping you grow, they're holding you back. If you're constantly feeling drained, discouraged, or diminished around someone, that's a sign. If they're always bringing drama, negativity, or doubt, that's another sign. You weren't created to carry toxic relationships, you were created to thrive. Sometimes letting go isn't just about protecting your heart, it's about making room for something better. You have to trust that when you remove the wrong people, the right people will come. So today, I want to share with you 7 clear signs that it's time to cut all contact and step into the next level of your life. Respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or even a coworker, mutual respect is what keeps relationships strong and uplifting. When someone constantly disrespects you by dismissing your feelings, ignoring your boundaries, or belittling your worth, it's a clear sign that they do not value you the way they should. You were never meant to live your life begging for the bare minimum of respect. The truth is, people show you how they feel about you through their actions, not just their words. If their actions repeatedly show disrespect, it's time to stop making excuses for them and start making changes for yourself. Some people disguise their disrespect as just joking or not meaning any harm. But let's be real, if something consistently makes you feel small, unheard, or undervalued, then it's not a joke, it's a pattern. Disrespect can come in many forms. It might be a friend who constantly interrupts you and talks over you, never giving you space to be heard. It could be a family member who disregards your choices and constantly criticizes your decisions. It could even be someone who dismisses your emotions, telling you that you're too sensitive every time you try to express how you feel. Over time, these small acts of disrespect pile up, and before you know it, you're questioning your own self-worth just to accommodate someone else's lack of consideration. One of the biggest mistakes people make is tolerating disrespect because they're afraid of confrontation. They think if I bring this up, they might get upset. What if I lose this relationship? But here's what you have to remember. A relationship that reaches to shrink yourself, silence your voice, or accept mistreatment is not a relationship worth keeping. The people who truly care about you will respect you not just when it's convenient for them, but at all times. And if someone gets angry or defensive when you set boundaries, that's a sign that they were benefiting from your lack of them. Another form of disrespect is when someone constantly dismisses your accomplishments or tries to downplay your success. Maybe you've worked hard for a promotion, and instead of celebrating with you, they say, well, I guess you just got lucky. Maybe you finally start focusing on your health, and instead of supporting you, they mock your efforts and try to pull you back into old habits. This kind of behavior is toxic because it subtly chips away at your performance. You deserve to be surrounded by people who recognize your worth, who uplift you instead of trying to bring you down. If someone is always making you feel like you're too much or not enough, they are not your people. Sometimes disrespect comes in the form of broken promises and lack of consideration. If someone repeatedly makes commitments and never follows through, they are showing you that your time and your trust don't matter to them. If they only show up when it's convenient for them but disappear when you need them most, they are not valuing you the way you deserve. A relationship should be built on mutual effort, not one person constantly giving while the other takes. When you allow this kind of behavior to continue, you're teaching them that it's acceptable to treat you this way. But when you stand up for yourself and say, I deserve better, you send a message not just to them, but to yourself that you are worthy of respect. One of the hardest things to accept is that some people will never change, no matter how much you hope they will. You might think, if I just give them more time, if I'm more patient, if I prove my worth to them, maybe they'll finally treat me right. But here's the truth. The right people don't need to be convinced to respect you. They do it naturally because they see your value. If someone consistently disrespects you despite you expressing how it makes you feel, that's not a mistake, that's a choice. And you have a choice too. You can either keep tolerating it, or you can walk away and make space for people who will treat you the way you deserve. Cutting contact with someone who disrespects you isn't about being petty or holding a grudge. It's about protecting your peace and your self-worth. You should never have to fight to be treated with basic human decency. Respect isn't a privilege, it's a necessity in every relationship. When you stop allowing people to mistreat you, you start attracting the kind of relationships that bring you peace, encouragement, and genuine care. The moment you refuse to settle for less, you open the door for so much more. One of the most dangerous things you can encounter in a relationship, whether it's with a friend, family member, coworker, or even a partner, is manipulation. Manipulative people don't always come with obvious warning signs. Sometimes they disguise their tactics as care, concern, or even love, making it difficult to recognize what's really happening. But if you constantly feel like you're being guilt-tripped, controlled, or emotionally blackmailed, it's a sign that something isn't right. You should never have to question whether someone is being truthful with you or whether their actions have hidden motives. A healthy relationship is built on honesty, not on mind games and deception. Manipulative people thrive on control. They might twist your words, make you feel guilty for things that aren't your fault, or even rewrite history to make themselves look like the victim. Have you ever confronted someone about something hurtful they did, only for them to turn it around and somehow make you feel like the bad guy? That's manipulation. Instead of taking responsibility, they deflect, make excuses, and shift the blame onto you. Before you know it, you're apologizing for something they did. If you find yourself constantly second-guessing your own feelings or wondering whether you're being unreasonable, that's a huge red flag. You should never feel like you have to justify your emotions just to keep the peace. Gaslighting is another common tactic manipulators use. This is when someone tries to make you doubt your own reality. They might say things like, "That never happened. You're just overreacting," or "You always make a big deal out of nothing." The goal is to make you question your own memory and perception so that they can avoid accountability. Over time, this kind of emotional manipulation can be incredibly damaging. You may start believing that you're the problem, that you're imagining things, or that you don't have the right to stand up for yourself. But let me remind you, your feelings are valid. Your experiences are real. And if someone is constantly trying to distort the truth to benefit themselves, they do not deserve a place in your life. Manipulators also use guilt as a weapon. They will make you feel like you owe them something, even when you don't. Maybe they bring up all the things they've done for you as a way to pressure you into doing what they want. Maybe they act like the victim in every situation, making it seem like they're the ones being hurt even when they are the ones causing the pain. If you've ever heard phrases like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me," or "I guess I just care too much," then you know exactly what I'm talking about. These are not signs of love or care. They are tactics designed to manipulate you into compliance. You are not responsible for managing someone else's emotions at the expense of your own well-being. Another sign of manipulation is when someone uses threats, whether direct or subtle, to control your decisions. They might say things like, "If you leave me, I don't know what I'll do," or "If you don't do this, then you must not care about me." These kinds of statements are meant to keep you trapped in a cycle of fear and obligation. No healthy relationship should ever make you feel like you have to choose between your happiness and someone else's approval. You are not responsible for holding someone's life together at the cost of your own peace. A relationship should feel like a partnership, not a power struggle. Lies and deception also play a huge role in manipulation. If someone is constantly hiding things from you, twisting the truth, or only telling you parts of the story, you can never fully trust them. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship. Without honesty, there is no real connection, only illusion. A person who lies to you is showing you that they do not respect you enough to be truthful. And when someone repeatedly breaks your trust, it's not a mistake, it's a choice. You should never have to wonder whether someone is telling you the truth. If you're constantly catching them in lies or feeling like something just doesn't add up, that's a clear sign that it's time to walk away. The truth is, manipulation doesn't always come with flashing warning signs. Sometimes it creeps in little by little until you find yourself in a situation where you feel stuck, confused, or powerless. But here's the good news: you don't have to stay there. You don't have to keep explaining yourself to someone who refuses to listen. You don't have to keep giving chances to someone who only takes advantage of your kindness. You deserve relationships that are built on trust, honesty, and mutual respect. When someone shows you who they really are, when they repeatedly manipulate, deceive, or guilt trip you, you owe it to yourself to believe them and move forward without them. Have you away from a conversation feeling completely drained, as if all your energy has been sucked out of you. Some people leave you feeling lighter, encouraged, and motivated, while others seem to take something from you every time you interact with them. This isn't just a coincidence. This is a sign of an unhealthy, energy-draining relationship. You were never meant to carry the weight of relationships that leave you emotionally exhausted. A true friendship, a healthy connection should refill you, not leave you empty. If someone is constantly taking from you without giving anything in return, it's time to step back and reassess. One of the clear signs of an energy-draining relationship is when everything is always about them. No matter what's happening in your life, they find a way to make the conversation revolve around their problems, their struggles, and their needs. You could be going through a difficult time, and instead of offering support, they hijack the conversation and shift the focus back to themselves. They rarely ask how you're doing, and when they do, it's only a brief pause before they start talking about their own issues again. Healthy relationships are a two-way street. Both people give, both people receive. But if you're always the one giving and they're always the one taking, that's not a relationship, it's emotional labor. Another sign of an exhausting relationship is when someone constantly relies on you for emotional support, but never offers the same in return. Maybe they always come to you when they need advice, encouragement, or a listening ear. But when you need them, they're suddenly unavailable. You find yourself always being the strong one, the one who fixes things, the one who carries the load. And while supporting the people you love is important, it should never be a one-sided effort. If someone only reaches out when they need something, but never when you need them, then they're not a real friend, they're just using you as an emotional crutch. Some people drain your energy because they thrive on negativity. Every time you talk to them, it's another complaint, another crisis, another story about how everything in their life is going wrong. No matter how much advice you give or how many solutions you offer, they never seem to want to make a change. They just want to vent over and over again. And while it's good to be there for people in tough times, you have to ask yourself, are they looking for help? Or are they just looking for a dumping ground for their problems? If someone is always filling your life with negativity, it will eventually start affecting your own mood, your own mindset, and your own energy. You can't surround yourself with constant complaints and expect to live a life of peace. Then there are the people who expect you to solve all their problems. They come to you with same issues repeatedly, looking for answers, but they never actually take your advice. It's like they want you to carry their burdens for them instead of taking responsibility for their own choices. You become their emotional caretaker, always fixing things, always cleaning up their messes. But here's the truth, you are not responsible for saving someone who doesn't want to save themselves. You can encourage them, you can support them, but at the end of the day, they have to make the decision to change. And if they refuse to, you can't let them keep pulling you down with them. Toxic relationships don't just drain your energy in the moment, they linger in your mind long after the conversation is over. Maybe you find yourself constantly thinking about what they said, replaying the interaction, or stressing over how to handle them the next time you see them. That's a sign that their presence is affecting you on a deeper level. Healthy relationships don't leave you feeling anxious, exhausted, or emotionally overwhelmed. They bring joy, encouragement, and a sense of peace. If you're spending more time recovering from a conversation than enjoying it, that's a sign that something isn't right. At the end of the day, you have to protect your energy. You only have so much emotional capacity, and you can't afford to waste it on relationships that leave you feeling depleted. You deserve to be around people who pour into you as much as you pour into them. Relationships should be a source of strength, not a constant drain. If someone is repeatedly leaving you feeling exhausted, discouraged, or overwhelmed, it's okay to walk away. Your energy is valuable, and you don't have to spend it on people who refuse to uplift you in return. One of the most important things to recognize in any relationship is whether the people around you genuinely celebrate your wins. A true friend, a real supporter, will be excited when good things happen in your life. They will cheer you on, uplift you, and encourage you to reach even greater heights. But not everyone clapping for you is truly happy for you. Some people secretly resent your progress. They might smile on the outside, but deep down they feel threatened by your success. Instead of celebrating with you, they downplay your achievements, make dismissive remarks, or even try to one-up you. These are not the kind of people you need in your life. A friend who is envious of your success might disguise their jealousy as a joke. Maybe you got a promotion at work, and instead of congratulating you, they say, "Oh, it must be nice to get lucky like that." Or perhaps you've been working hard to improve your health, and they sarcastically comment, "Oh, so now you think you're better than everyone else?" These kinds of remarks may seem small, but over time they add up. They send a clear message. They don't actually want to see you succeed. A true friend will never make you feel guilty for improving your life. If someone constantly belittles your progress, it's time to take a step back and reassess their role in your life. Some people struggle with hidden competition. Instead of being happy for you, they see your success as a threat to their own self-worth. The moment you accomplish something, they feel the need to outshine you. If you tell them you just got a raise, they'll immediately talk about how much money they're making. If you start a new business, they'll suddenly start talking about their own plans, sometimes even copying your ideas. Pay attention to how people react when you share good news. Do they listen and celebrate with you, or do they immediately shift the focus back to themselves? A true friend doesn't compete with you, they grow with you. Another sign of a toxic relationship is when someone tries to minimize your achievements. Maybe you just graduated after years of hard work, and instead of celebrating, they say, "Well, it's not like it was that hard." Or perhaps you finally reach a personal goal, and they respond with, "That's cool, but anyone could do that." These kinds of comments are designed to make you feel like your accomplishments don't matter. But here's the truth: your success is valid. Your hard work is real. And anyone who tries to downplay your progress is revealing their own insecurities, not reflecting your worth. Sometimes it's not just words, it's silence. Pay attention to the people who don't acknowledge your achievements at all. If you post about an accomplishment and they're nowhere to be found, but they always seem to have something to say about drama or negativity, that's a sign. A true friend won't go quiet when good things happen to you. They'll be there cheering you on just as you would for them. If someone is consistently absent during your moments of joy, but quick to show up when you're struggling, they might enjoy seeing you down more than seeing you rise. That's not friendship, that's hidden resentment. Some people will even go so far as to discourage you from reaching your full potential. Instead of supporting your dreams, they'll plant seeds of doubt. They might say things like, "Are you sure you can handle that?" Or, "I just don't want to see you get disappointed." On the surface, it may seem like concern, but in reality, they're projecting their own fears onto you. The truth is, not everyone wants to see you succeed because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. If someone constantly makes you question your abilities instead of encouraging you to chase your dreams, they do not belong in your inner circle. At the end of the day, the people in your life should be your biggest supporters. Your success should be a shared joy, not a source of tension. Surround yourself with those who clap when you win, who lift you up when you achieve, and who inspire you to keep going. Life is too short to keep people around who secretly hope you fail. If someone consistently downplays, dismisses, or competes with your success, it's time to move on. You deserve relationships that are built on mutual celebration, not silent resentment. Some people bring nothing but stress into your life. Every time you talk to them, there's another crisis, another conflict, another problem that somehow always seems to follow them. They are never at peace. And no matter how much you try to help, the drama never ends. Maybe it's a friend who is always in an argument with someone, a coworker who thrives on gossip and negativity, or a family member who seems to stir up trouble everywhere they go. Whatever the case may be, being around constant drama is exhausting. You weren't created to live in a constant state of tension, always trying to fix problems that aren't yours to solve. You deserve relationships that bring you peace, not chaos. People who thrive on drama often make their problems your problems. They call you at all hours of the day, unloading their latest issue on you as if it's your responsibility to fix it. They drag you in conflicts that have nothing to do with you, expecting you to take sides or defend them. They create unnecessary tension in your life, making everything more complicated than it needs to be. And the worst part, no matter how much advice you give or how many times you help them, nothing ever changes. They don't actually want solutions, they just want attention. They aren't looking for peace, they're looking for someone to validate their chaos. One of the most dangerous things about constantly being around drama is that it starts to affect your own well-being. At first, you may think you're just being a supportive friend, lending an ear when they need to vent. But over time, you start to notice how drained and anxious you feel after every interaction. You start carrying their stress as if it's your own. You find yourself thinking about their problems even when you're not with them. You lose sleep over situations that have nothing to do with you. And that's when you have to ask yourself, is this relationship adding to my life or is it taking away from it? Another sign of a drama-filled relationship is when someone constantly overreacts to small situations. Every little inconvenience turns into a major catastrophe. If they don't get their way, they lash out. If they feel slighted, even in the smallest way, they make sure everyone knows about it. They hold grudges over petty things and create unnecessary conflict where there should be none. Being around this kind of energy is exhausting because you always feel like you have to walk on eggshells, afraid of setting them off. You can't live your life constantly worried about how someone else is going to react. That's not a friendship, that's emotional instability. People who love drama also love gossip. If someone is constantly talking about others, spreading rumors, or stirring up conflict, you can be sure that they are doing the same thing behind your back. Gossip is toxic. It breeds negativity, destroys trust, and creates unnecessary division. When you surround yourself with people who gossip, you invite their toxicity into your own life. And here's the truth: if they talk about everyone else to you, they will talk about you to everyone else. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. A true friend will protect your name in rooms where you aren't present, not tear you down for the sake of entertainment. Another form of constant drama is when someone always plays the victim. No matter what happens, they are never at fault. They always have an excuse, always blame someone else, always find a way to make themselves look like the innocent one. Maybe they refuse to take responsibility for their actions, always pointing fingers at others. Maybe they exaggerate situations, making them seem worse than they really are just to gain sympathy. Either way, this kind of behavior is toxic because it prevents growth. If someone refuses to acknowledge their own mistakes, they will never change. And if they never change, the chaos will never stop. At some point, you have to decide that your peace is more important than their drama. You don't have to keep showing up for someone who only brings stress into your life. You don't have to keep engaging with people who thrive on negativity. It's okay to walk away from relationships that drain you. You are not obligated to be someone's emotional dumping ground. You deserve connections that bring you joy, not constant stress. If someone consistently brings chaos, conflict, and drama into your life, it's a sign that they don't respect your peace. And if they don't respect your peace, they don't deserve a place in your life. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect. And a big part of respect is honoring boundaries. When someone truly cares about you, they will listen when you say no. They will respect your time, your space, and your emotional limits. But some people refuse to acknowledge boundaries. They push, they overstep, and they make you feel guilty for setting limits. These are the people who ignore your needs and prioritize their own desires above your well-being. If someone consistently disregards your boundaries, it's a clear sign that they do not respect you. And without respect, there can be no healthy relationship. One of the biggest ways people violate boundaries is by making unreasonable demands on your time. Maybe they expect you to drop everything for them at a moment's notice. They call it inconvenient hours, show up uninvited, or get upset when you don't immediately respond to their messages. They don't consider whether you're busy, tired, or simply need time for yourself. Instead, they act as if their needs should always come first. A healthy relationship recognizes that you have a life outside of them. If someone is always taking from your time without considering your schedule or responsibilities, that's a sign of disrespect. Another form of boundary violation is emotional overstepping. Some people feel entitled to know every detail of your life, even when you're not comfortable sharing. Maybe they pressure you to talk about personal matters, dig into topics you'd rather keep private, or make you feel bad for not opening up on their terms. They might say things like, "Why are you being so secretive?" Or "You can tell me anything," when what they really mean is, "I have a right to know everything about you." But here's the truth. No one is entitled to your personal information. You have the right to decide with whom. A real friend will respect that, not pressure you to revealing things you're not ready to talk about. Some people disrespect boundaries in more aggressive ways through criticism, control, or manipulation. Maybe they constantly tell you what to do, making you feel like you're not capable of making your own decisions. Maybe they make comments about your choices, your appearance, or your lifestyle, even when you've made it clear that their opinions are unwanted. They may use phrases like, "I'm just trying to help," when in reality, they're trying to control you. There's a difference between constructive advice and unwarranted interference. If someone is always trying to dictate your life, they are not respecting your autonomy. Another major red flag is when someone refuses to take no for an answer. If you decline an invitation, they pressure you until you say yes. If you set a limit, they find a way to push past it. If you say you're uncomfortable with something, they brush it off as if your feelings don't matter. People like this don't hear no as a firm boundary, they hear it as a challenge to overcome. And that's a dangerous mindset. Whether it's about your time, your emotions, your body, or your personal space, your no should always be enough. Anyone who constantly tests or ignores your boundaries is showing you that they do not respect you. One of the most toxic ways people violate boundaries is through guilt tripping. Maybe you finally put your foot down, but instead of respecting your decision, they try to make you feel bad about it. They say things like, "I guess I just thought we were closer than that," or "I can't believe you would do this to me after everything I've done for you." This kind of manipulation is designed to make you second guess yourself, to make you feel guilty for having limits. But you are not wrong for setting boundaries. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. If someone tries to make you feel bad for enforcing your limits, they are showing you exactly why those boundaries are necessary. At the end of the day, relationships should feel safe and balanced. You should never feel pressured, controlled, or disrespected. The people in your life should honor your boundaries, not constantly challenge them. When someone repeatedly disrespects your limits, they are making it clear that their desires are more important than your well-being. And if they refuse to change, then they do not deserve a place in your life. Respect is not optional, it is the foundation of every healthy relationship. If someone refuses to respect you, you have every right to walk away. The people you surround yourself with have a powerful influence on your mindset, behavior, and overall well-being. A healthy relationship, whether it's a friendship, a family connection, or a romantic partnership, should inspire you to be the best version of yourself. It should encourage growth, self-improvement, and positivity, but some people bring out the worst in you. They trigger your insecurities, amplify your bad habits, or pull you into negativity. Instead of helping you rise higher, they drag you down. If someone consistently influences you in a way that makes you feel worse about yourself, it's time to take a hard look at whether that relationship is worth keeping. One of the most obvious signs of a toxic relationship is when someone encourages destructive behavior. Maybe you've been working hard to improve your life, trying to be more disciplined, healthier, or more positive, but every time you're around this person, you find yourself slipping back into old habits. They pressure you to do things you don't want to do, whether it's indulging in negativity, gossip, unhealthy behaviors, or reckless decisions. Instead of supporting your growth, they undermine it. A true friend will never push you towards self-destruction. If someone is constantly leading you away from the person you want to be, they are not a positive force in your life. Toxic relationships also have a way of stirring up emotions you don't like in yourself. Maybe you find that you're more irritable, more defensive, or more anxious when you're around them. They push your buttons, provoke unnecessary arguments, or create situations that bring out anger, frustration, or insecurity. Instead of feeling uplifted after spending time together, you feel drained, upset, or uneasy. A healthy relationship doesn't leave you feeling emotionally exhausted. It doesn't make you feel like you have to constantly defend yourself or walk on eggshells. Pay attention to how you feel after interactions. If someone consistently leaves you feeling worse, that's a warning sign. Another way people bring out the worst in you is by making you doubt yourself. Maybe they constantly criticize your choices, second-guess your decisions, or make you feel like you're not good enough. Instead of encouraging your strengths, they highlight your weaknesses. Instead of celebrating your progress, they remind you of past mistakes. Over time, this can take a serious toll on your confidence. You start to internalize their negativity, questioning your own worth and abilities. A healthy relationship should make you feel secure, not uncertain. If someone's presence in your life is making you feel less confident instead of more empowered, that's not a relationship worth keeping. Sometimes people bring out the worst in you by dragging you into their drama and negativity. Maybe they thrive on gossip, conflict, or chaos, and before you know it, you find yourself caught up in it too. You start engaging in conversations that don't align with your values, participating in negativity that doesn't serve you. You might even notice that your overall outlook on life has shifted. Where you were once hopeful, you now feel cynical. Where you once saw potential, you now see problems. The energy you surround yourself with is contagious. If someone's influence is pulling you into a mindset of bitterness, resentment, or pettiness, it's a sign that they are not good for your spirit. One of the most subtle but dangerous ways people bring out the worst in you is by fostering codependency. Maybe you start to feel like you can't function without them, like you need their approval, validation, or presence to feel okay. They make you feel guilty for having independence, for making decisions on your own, or for spending time away from them. Over time, you may start losing sight of who you are outside of that relationship. A healthy connection allows both people to grow as individuals. If someone makes you feel like you have to shrink yourself in order to maintain the relationship, that's not love, that's control. At the core of every strong relationship is the ability to bring out the best in each other. You should feel encouraged, supported, and inspired when you're with the people in your life. You should walk away from interactions feeling better, not worse. If someone constantly brings out negative emotions, bad habits, or self-doubt in you, that is a sign that their influence is not healthy. You don't have to keep people in your life who make you feel like less than you are. The right relationships will challenge you to grow, but they will never make you feel small. If someone's presence is bringing out the worst in you instead of the best, it's time to rethink their place in your life. One of the clearest signs that someone does not belong in your life is the feeling of relief you get when they're not around. Maybe you don't even realize how much stress they bring until they leave, and suddenly you feel lighter. Your energy shifts, your mood improves, and you find yourself breathing easier. This is not just a coincidence, it's your soul's way of telling you that their presence was weighing you down. Pay attention to how you feel when certain people are absent. If life feels more peaceful when they're not around, that's a sign that their presence is disrupting your peace. A healthy relationship should not leave you feeling drained. If spending time with someone feels like an obligation, if their calls make you tense up, or if you find yourself making excuses to avoid them, that's your sit peaking. You don't dread the presence of people who bring joy into your life. You don't feel obligated to engage with relationships that nourish you. When someone is truly good for you, their presence is something you look forward to, not something you endure. If you breathe easier when they're gone, it means their energy was never in alignment with yours to begin with. Sometimes the relief comes in small, subtle ways. Maybe you realize that after a few days of not talking to them, you're sleeping better, feeling more optimistic, or simply enjoying life more. The things that used to stress you out suddenly seem manageable. The anxiety you felt when you were around them starts to fade. That's because negativity, toxicity, and emotional exhaustion are heavy burdens to carry. And when those burdens are lifted even temporarily, you can finally feel the difference. It's like taking off a backpack you didn't even realize was weighing you down. Many times we convince ourselves that we need to keep certain people in our lives out of guilt, obligation, or fear of being alone. But relationships should never feel like a burden. If someone's presence causes more stress than joy, more frustration than peace, more exhaustion than fulfillment, then what are you really holding on to? You deserve connections that add to your life, not ones that drain it. And sometimes the greatest act of self-care is recognizing that it's okay to let go. It's okay to choose peace, peace over pressure, joy over stress, and self-respect over forced connection. One of the biggest reasons people stay in toxic relationships is because they are afraid of change. They worry about what will happen if they cut ties, how the other person will react, or whether they will regret their decision. But here's the truth: your soul doesn't lie. If you feel relief when they're not around, that feeling is not a mistake. It's a message. It's telling you that their energy was never good for you, that their presence was holding you back, and that life without them is actually better. Ignoring that feeling only prolongs your own suffering. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for stepping away. They will say things like, "I thought we were close," or "I don't understand why you're acting this way." But you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. You don't have to justify why you feel lighter when they're gone. If someone was meant to stay in your life, their presence would feel like a blessing, not a burden. And if walking away brings you peace, then you're making the right decision, even if it's hard. At the end of the day, your emotions are the greatest indicator of whether a relationship is right for you. If someone truly belongs in your life, you will feel joy, comfort, and peace in their presence. But if their absence brings relief, then that is your answer. You don't have to force connections that no longer serve you. You don't have to hold on to relationships that deplete you. Pay attention to what your heart and mind are telling you. If you feel free when they're not around, then it's time to stop holding on to something that was never meant to stay. Life is too short to surround yourself with people who drain your energy, break your spirit, and take more than they give. You were not created to live in constant stress, doubt, or turmoil. You were made for joy, for growth, for meaningful relationships that uplift and inspire you. And if someone is consistently bringing negativity into your life, if they are disrespecting your boundaries, stirring up drama, or making you feel less than you are, then it may be time to let go. Letting go isn't always easy. It can be painful to walk away from people you once cared about. But sometimes holding on is even more painful. You have to ask yourself, is this relationship serving me? Is it helping me grow? Is it bringing me peace? If the answer is no, then you already know what you need to do. It's not selfish to prioritize your well-being. It's not unkind to remove yourself from toxic situations. You are simply choosing to honor the life and the peace that God has given you. You don't have to explain your decision to anyone. You don't have to feel guilty for choosing yourself. The right people, the ones who truly love and respect you, will never make you feel like you have to sacrifice your happiness to keep them in your life. They will honor your boundaries, respect your peace, and encourage your growth. And the people who don't, they were never meant to stay. So if you feel the weight lifting when you step away, if you find yourself breathing easier and feeling lighter, that is your confirmation. You are making the right choice. You are choosing peace over chaos, love over toxicity, and strength over fear. And as you walk forward, trust that better relationships, greater joy, and deeper fulfillment are waiting for you. Because when you make room for what's right, what's wrong will no longer have a place in your life.